What's up, y'all? It's James Disciple Johnson, National President and founder of Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club, and I'm here in Cape Canaveral, Florida. This is the daily update, and I am your intrepid host. Thanks for watching. I'm going to take this GoPro chest rig off right now, since I don't technically need it on. We are doing a whole lot of stuff when it comes to video production, and so that's why we've been sitting around all morning with stuff like chest rigs on. I'm going to move my camera a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. I've not done a lot of these daily updates recently, and that is unfortunate. I'm sorry. We have just been doing so much planning. It's hard to keep up with everything, but I want to give you an update about a lot of stuff that's going on, so let's get started. Right behind me is a beautiful Harley-Davidson Dynaglide that is disabled right now. Yep, it is disabled. This is the motorcycle that Justin Kincaid was running yesterday when he went down right behind me. And if you look over here on this side, let's see how close we can get in. Come on, autofocus. You'll see that his shifter punched a hole in the primary. So there's a hole punched in the primary right here. And then, of course, you know, the usual signals and bent handlebars, and the seat got jacked up a little bit, as you can see, kind of right in this area. But overall, the motorcycle is still in good condition, and we're going to get it fixed. It'll take us a while, but we're looking for parts and looking for success at getting that thing done. So who is Justin Kincaid, and why does he matter, and why is he in Florida? To answer those questions, I'd like to introduce Justin Kincaid. Come on, wobble your little slow self over here. Yep. So guys, this is Justin Kincaid. He is, introduce yourself. Give your official introduction.
Justin Kincaid. I'm a prospect, 43 Drop Bones crew.
That's right. And Justin had actually traveled down here to Florida to help me with a large project revolving around our ministry. As you guys know, we're in Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club, and we are trying to spur global revival. And so we're using things like video, to do that, to share. You know, I'll be in Thailand and Costa Rica and Alaska and Bahrain and South Africa, and I don't even know where all this year. And so as we shoot this video, we need someone to edit it. We need to have ourselves set up with a house. Guys, as you may know, since my divorce began, I live in a camper. So you can see here's our camper. We are in Cape Canaveral, Florida, essentially in a campground, and there's a lot of campers around. And that's where I've been living since I came down here to Cape Canaveral, is in this camper. Well, the problem is, you're going to have to get closer to me, bro. It's like you have to be right in there. There you go. The problem is that I don't have space to do a lot of stuff. So we are launching something called the Disciple House. I need your help to name the Disciple House. So what's the Disciple House going to be? Well, it's 4 bedrooms and a 2-car garage, and it's going to be like the real world. We're setting it up exactly like the real world. Now, the draw in the real world was women in hot tubs and bikinis. Yep. For us, the draw for the Disciple House is going to be fixing motorcycles, talking about Jesus, and just a constant Disciple weekend. Yeah. As you may have noticed, there's a couple other guys here for the last 24 hours since Justin went down. We've had 4 of us here hanging out. The 4 guys slept in that camper last night, and we're just planning, we're working. Today, we're going to be heading out to look at several 4-bedroom houses in the area. And basically what we're going to set up is the real world. We're going to set up a confessional. So if you remember, people on the real world had to spend an hour a day sitting in front of a camera in a special room and just talking about what they didn't like about other people in the house and who they thought was hot. Well, we'll be talking about our week, and we'll be talking about Jesus, and we'll be live streaming any motorcycle repairs. So for instance, with this Dyna here, as we fix the Dyna so that Justin can ride it again, we'll be live streaming that stuff. Yep. And people on YouTube, of course, love to watch stuff about fixing motorcycles. So we're going to literally have a garage just set up so that we can fix motorcycles in it, have a good time with it. It's going to be super cool. And then as people come in, we'll be able to shoot video about disciples coming into the house, let them share their experience. It's going to be so cool. But we need your help, because Disciple House sounds boring. There's got to be a cooler name than Disciple House. And so we need your help to figure out a name. Put it right down here in the comments, y'all. Tell us what you think we should call the Disciple real world kind of scenario that we're setting up. So we've been months into planning this. months into planning this. There is a lot that has gone into different people coming together to make this happen. And it's all around the fact of Redeemed Films. Yeah. Redeemed Films is where we're going to be making a documentary about Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club. It's going to be very professional. It's going to be us telling the story our way. It's a lot to do with YouTube and stuff. If you do manage to sell a documentary to Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon Prime, then people are going to want to go to YouTube and learn all about your organization. So we have to have some corollary stuff. And so we really want it Journey House. I like that. Yeah. I think we really want to have some stuff out there that helps people see who we are, see what we do. Smile, Justin. He's hurting is the problem. And just it'll be a fascinating thing. It'll give us. We're basically setting up cameras all over the house so that we can capture our daily life and the silly stuff, because it's going to be a nonstop Disciple weekend, son. Yep. It's going to be so much fun. Now, obviously, a lot of you want to know about Justin. Justin, tell us what happened yesterday.
Well, we were just going to ride to the beach. Beautiful. Never seen the beach. Still haven't got there yet.
You've never seen the beach?
I've never seen the beach.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll do that today.
Yeah. Anyway, so we was heading over there. Got into a putter slick, asphalt. I guess there was water on it. It was wet. And my rear wheel slid out from under me. And the motorcycle kept going that way, and I kept going that way. And, you know, one thing leads to another, and you hear the sick flapping of your meat on pavement, and it is not it's not a pleasant thing. But broken shoulder here, the humerus, not that big of a deal. I mean, it's, it could have been way worse. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's.
And so, what did they say about recovery time?
Recovery time is going to be anywhere between 6 and 10 weeks, depending on how much you push and what your pain tolerances and stuff is, and just getting out there and getting through it.
And did they give you some great medicine?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, here comes this guy. He moves down here to help us. Comes down for a trip to help us set up. Some great stuff for vlogging. Tell everybody a little bit about your experience.
Okay, so I make really great, and by great I mean horrible horror films, and just that trashy 80s, 70s B-movie stuff that everybody loves and never wants to admit to it. That's kind of my thing. But also, I've got a lot of cinematography experience and a vision in mind for what we want to do with the films. So I bring a lot of filmmaking experience to it, number one, but also a creative eye that can keep our look on all of our videos consistent. And as far as like PR marketing and things, it's just what you do in the end.
So Justin's been my brand manager for my YouTube channel. If you guys have noticed over the last month or so, the quality on my YouTube channel has dramatically increased, because he's teaching me how to handle that kind of stuff. So super cool. Guys, you're watching James Disciple Johnson, National President and Founder of Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club. We're here in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Take a minute to hit that share button and let people know you're watching on YouTube. One of the transitions leaving Facebook and going to YouTube is that Facebook randomly promotes your video. YouTube just slowly sucks your viewers dry, so it's hard to promote. But YouTube is a better platform for what we're trying to accomplish. Yep. So with Disciple House, man, we're literally going to be, gas can's still here, somebody asked, we'll bring him on in just a second. We're literally going to be creating video about Disciple, about working on motorcycles, about the process of shooting films, about travel. Cooking. We're going to have cooking. We're going to do cooking stuff. We're going to develop, big parties at that house that allow us to bring people together that are interesting on film. And then also, obviously, we're going to have a lot of space for Disciple people. If you want to come down and be at Disciple House, spend a week, spend a weekend, move in, then we're going to be trying to set that up and to facilitate that, because the more disciples we have in one place, the more chance we have to really spur global revival. Gas Can, come on and get in here. Stand right between us here, man. Stand right between us. Introduce yourself.
My name is Disciple Gas Can. I'm Vice President for the Dry Bones crew.
In Virginia.
In Virginia.
In Virginia.
And
Virginia.
He came down with Justin. He was riding right behind Justin when he went down. Tell us a little bit about your experience yesterday.
Well, we were going down a little straightaway, and as James stated, that it was wet from the boats coming up from the pier, and saw his back tire start smoking from grabbing those brakes, and saw his bike go straight down. He started rolling and flopping in the wind a little bit, and yeah, he rolled right out in front of me, and it was only by the grace of God that I didn't run him over.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw him roll and bounce about 5 times.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal, man. It was pretty brutal. And gas cans come down to help us out a little bit as well. He made us some awesome breakfast just now.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Those of you who know about him, he's a cook, and that was super cool. And it's just a lot of fun, man. Just a really solid, good, encouraging brother. Really happy to have you here, man. Really happy to have you here. Now, I know you want to get out from in front of the camera as fast as possible, so
absolutely.
go ahead.
Thank
You
you.
did you notice how he was leaning the direction not here?
Guys, this is just a reminder. If you see an introvert, there's 3 things you need to do. Smile at the introvert, walk away, and know that the introvert enjoyed your interaction. So another exciting thing that's going on. Anything else you want to talk about on the update here at all, Justin?
Yeah, so one thing that he was talking about the YouTube channel, interactions are key. You know, commenting, liking, sharing, that kind of stuff. Remember, the YouTube is a two-way street, right? We will film things that are more toward your interest. We'll cater the channel more to what you're looking for. We'll always take suggestions, always take ideas. So, let us know what you'd like to see from the channel.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Guys, comment where you're at right now. Put it right down here in the stream. Tell us where you're watching from. We always like to see that. I've seen comments from folks all over the States, even South Africa right now. So comment where you're watching from, y'all. One thing that's really cool, guys, in the next few weeks, we have a lot going on. This weekend, we're going to talk about this in just a minute. With the upcoming February Black History Month, we'll be actually shooting this weekend with black motorcycle clubs, talking about the history of black motorcycle clubs. Everybody knows the story of the major 1% clubs. You can Google it, but there's not a lot out there on black clubs, so we're really looking forward to that. And then also, the weekend after that is the Global Leadership Conference for Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club. It'll be happening here in Florida. We've got guys coming in from all over the world. We're going to spend time talking to them, sewing into them, just getting on the same page about vision for the year. The weekend after that, I'm off, and then off to Thailand for 10 days. And so I'll be shooting a lot of video in Thailand. Obviously, we have to eat 3 meals a day or whatever, so we'll be vlogging all those as Thai travel cuisine vlogs and putting them on the YouTube channel. We've got some underwater shooting equipment, so the Thai beaches are beautiful. So we'll be getting some drone shots of the markets, like the crazy packed Thai markets where we're going to be eating. We're going to get awesome drone shots of the beach where we're at. We're going to get disciples playing in the water. We're going to shoot segments on 1%ers motorcycles in Thailand because those are going to be, I think, probably a lot different than what you're going to see on motorcycles here. I hope to interview a Buddhist monk while I'm there. We're going to be on Thai TV. I mean, it's going to be an action-packed 10 days, and I'm sure I'm going to be exhausted when I get back, and I'll get exactly 3 days of rest and then off to Costa Rica. And obviously, we have a large charter going on in Costa Rica. I'm excited to meet those guys. If you didn't know this, one of our guys in Costa Rica owns some land. I understand it's kind of on some cliffs over the beach, and he wants to create a getaway for pastors and for disciples to come down there. And it looks like we can build cabins for $5 grand a piece or so on these in Costa Rica. So if you want to travel to Costa Rica, we'll have you covered. I also understand that all the bananas and grapefruits and pineapples that you eat are picked green and then shipped to you where they ripen. But if you eat vine-ripened bananas, I understand it is a magical experience. I'm looking forward to eating the fruit. They say the pineapple in Costa Rica zings in your mouth because it's just fresh off the plant. I can't wait. I'm going to share that stuff with you. Then we've got, in quick succession, Alaska, where I'll be for a couple weeks. We'll be shooting a lot of stuff about what's going on in Alaska. Such beautiful territory. Looking forward to that. South Africa, Bahrain. So many countries to go to. So little time. And our goal is simply to spur global revival, to get men excited about the things of God, the things of Jesus Christ. Super exciting. Yeah. And we're going to generate literally so much video on SD cards that guys like Justin and other people are just going to be necessary to help us edit it. Shooting these live videos is freaking awesome because there's no administrative work like downloading it to your computer, uploading it into a software, spending hours or even days adding music and sounds and better quality, and then finally color correction, and then uploading it. It just takes a huge amount of time. You guys have no idea how much work is involved in it. And there's literally video that we've shot months ago that still isn't out. I mean, good, compelling video. Yeah. And so we need help. If you know how to edit video in Premiere Pro, definitely reach out to us because we could use your help. And so that's definitely exciting.
I just want to say one thing. Disciple Spike is watching from Mother Charter, and there's a specific name for Mother Charter that I just love saying, Cotton John!
Yeah. So, Justin, I'm really thankful you came down here. I'm sorry you went down. We've got some thousands of dollars worth of medical bills. We've got thousands of dollars worth of fixing his motorcycle. This is not what we expected when we came here to do the Lord's work, but it is part of riding a motorcycle. It is part of the dangerous lifestyle we live in. Y'all, if you go anywhere on my James Disciple Johnson or James Johnson personal page, you'll see a link to donate to help the guy with his medical expenses. He came down here without a car. All he had is a motorcycle. The motorcycle's not working now. He doesn't have a place to live. You got 4 of us in my camper last night. Certainly consider donating to cover his medical expenses. We're trying to keep him as pain-free and not moving around as possible, but you guys know a broken shoulder is absolutely brutal, and there's no riding a motorcycle with it, and no real sleeping either. So,
Not really.
all right, cool. Anything else before we finish up with you?
Nope, I'm good. Just like I said, just give us those comments, give it those ideas, and let us know what you think.
All right, man.
All right.
Well, guys, another thing that's very important to me is the ministry of racial reconciliation. You know, I'm a white pastor ordained in a black church, and I have been looking at the demographics of Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club for some time, wishing that we had more diversity in the organization. There's been a lot of segregation in motorcycle clubs. There's the black club, there's the white club. It's the same way in the church. There's the black church, the white church, there's the rich black church, the poor black church, the rich white church, the poor black church. So much segregation, and some of it's self-imposed. Look, there are some black people who would rather hang with black people. There's some white people who would rather hang with white people. But the fact of the matter is, as a Christian organization, we realize that heaven's not all one color. And I want to work to include us as a more diverse organization. And so whenever I have guys in the club who are, diverse minority populations, I always ask them about their experience in the club. Has anybody been racist to you? Well, no, never. You know, have you felt welcome and included? Well, in this case, I have or haven't. And it's been a very interesting, eye-opening thing. As a leader, I've got to ask those questions. I don't think that anybody in our club is ultimately racist. I don't think anybody in our club is deliberately negative toward people of color. But on the other hand, why do we only have a handful, when we've got dudes all over the world, why do we only have a handful of diversity? And to talk about that today, I wanted to bring my club son, Deano Costin, in and just ask some of those questions and let you guys hear the answers and kind of hear what we're planning on doing with Black History Month and that kind of good stuff. So introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Deano, hanging around with 43 Salty Few.
Salty Few Crew. And I understand, if I'm correct, that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're black.
I am.
Yeah, and how did you feel about coming to this club as a black man?
Originally, I was a little stunned because I saw the mission and I was seeing the work that was being done, that there weren't more color inside of, or if I can use condiments, there wasn't more pepper in the salt.
Yeah. And I think there are people of color and minorities and stuff in the club. There is one other black dude, all right?
Absolutely.
But we don't. One comment that you put to me is that we don't put black folks on media enough. Mm-hmm. If you are a black guy watching the club, you may see us as a white club.
Correct.
And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, there have been folks around you, black folks, who have said, "Why are you joining a black club?" or "Why are you joining a white club?"
Correct.
Do you think of Disciple as a white club?
I do not. And the instance you were talking about, some friends who are in a black club who were trying to figure out why I was going to an all-white club, especially when they're researching and trying to figure out what I'm doing, and they're trying to look out for my best interest, as we are very, very close. And really what goes on is you have to look for who you're a good fit with. Or as some people say, who's the right tribe. And so really, as I've been pursuing Disciple, and as I've been getting to know a lot more of the disciples and everyone in the area and in this club, I'm finding that this is my tribe. This is who I am made for and who is made for me.
Because you like motorcycles and Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about motorcycles and Jesus. And I really think all of us have our insecurities to overcome.
Absolutely.
You know, some people come to the club and go, well, where's all the brothers at? And how am I going to fit in here as a person of color? Some people come to the organization and go, well, I'm not very spiritual. How am I going to fit in as a person who hadn't read the Bible a lot? Some people may look at it and say, well, I'm not that great of a motorcycle rider. We all have our insecurities to overcome. Talk to me about the process of overcoming that insecurity when it comes to race. I don't think that you had a big problem with it, but I have talked to other black folks that left the club that had some insecurities about that. Talk about what it's like and what people could do to help you overcome those.
Now, you see, when we start talking about insecurities and looking at pushing past the racial divide and moving into a place where you actually have a lot more diversity and you're essentially a melting pot, you have to understand that the civil rights movement wasn't that long ago, not even 60 years ago. And so everything that a lot of our parents went through and our grandparents went through that has been passed down to us in stories as well as mores, is still fresh in our minds, and we're still trying to figure out. There's still places in the United States that are so segregated and
Alabama.
So
oh, sorry.
And so separated that
West Virginia. Oh, sorry.
If I go in there, I have to find myself looking in the rearview mirror and not stopping in certain towns. And because it's still a very real thing, I have to also watch who I associate with. But the question is, do I want to push for the racial diversity? Now, if I begin to push into the racial diversity, how many buttons am I going to push? Who am I going to upset? And how is that actually going to come around and affect me? And that's a lot of the insecurities that we find, especially as a black man coming into a world where it's not as diverse, but we want more diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we all have our little piece of the world to overcome. You know, for me, I struggle with terrible self-esteem and insecurity. And so I can walk into a place and feel like I'm not welcome just because of that. But you add another complexity as you talk to, you know, we've got Asian people in the organization as well. And they come into it looking about, where's all the Asians at? You know, how am I going to be comfortable here? And so I think it's something I look at as a leader. I don't think it's something that is on the mindset of the average disciple or the average person out there. I think there's a lot of people that look at the world today and say, well, where's the racism? And black people are just as racist as white because black people choose to hang out with each other. And there's all these little, like, you know, pathways that it goes down. But, you know, basically when I look at somebody and I see issues or insecurities, I want to help fix those. If I see somebody that doesn't feel like they're, you know, good enough of a Christian to join the club, then I want to talk to them about, hey, God loves you, Jesus has forgiven you. I want to build those people up. If I come across somebody that doesn't ride all that good and their insecurity is about riding, I'm going to try to build them up as a better rider. I'm going to let them know, hey, you know, there's some things you can do. You know, you're a good rider, just stay at the back of the pack. And then when somebody comes to the club and they says their insecurity has to do with racial issues, then I want to address that as well.
Well, one crazy thing is it's not just racial issues, it's a cultural issue. Because you have a different culture in Canada than you do have in Florida, and a different culture in California than you have in Australia. And so even when you are looking at the different cultures out there, you might get rubbed the wrong way because one culture acts differently than yours.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, there's certainly, listen, there's cultural differences between Chargers and Disciple. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows the Red Dirt crew in Oklahoma very much clicks like an oiled machine, very militant. You got other charters like Cottontown where we're like, oh, it's all cool, or we're really laid back and chill. You go to California, they're laid back and chill. You go up to some of the ones in Canada, they're very much, you know, what's the word? More on the spiritual side and you know, Baptist farmer kind of people. And then you go out to, you know, New York, and they're a little bit more, you know, so everybody's got their own culture. And you're right, there are differences between the Baptist church culture and the charismatic church culture. There are people that get pissed off because you don't read the King James Bible, you know, and they have a hard time forming brotherhood with other people because of that. And then when you come to black culture and white culture, you know, there are some differences.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the easy ones that I would point out is CPT.
Yes.
Right? So if you know what CPT is, hit the like button. We'll tell you in just a second. But it's a legitimate cultural difference between black and white culture. And it really pisses off white people, right?
Absolutely.
It does. CPT is called Colored People Time.
Yep.
And Colored People Time means, so when's the party? Well, the party's at 5, the white person says. When are you going to eat? At 7, the white person says. So the black people shows up at 8. Yeah. And the white people are like, we're just finishing up at 8. And the black people are like, where the party at?
Exactly.
And it's just a cultural difference. That's how it works in that culture. And I advise people, try not to get mad about cultural differences. If somebody's Baptist and you're charismatic, try not to get mad at that. If black culture does things different than white culture, try not to get mad about that. You go to a Hispanic person's house and they will not let you leave without trying to stuff your belly. I mean, it's just their culture.
And send you home with 2 plates.
Yeah. And Italians are the same way.
Exactly.
It's not about race, it's about culture. And we have to be willing to overlook things, willing to not get offended about things, willing to not get pissed off about things, and willing to give people the space for their culture. Now, when I asked you about, you mentioned there were no black faces on the media, that you examined us for months and saw no black faces. My goal was to get some black faces on right away.
Right.
And with Black History Month coming up, one of the really, I think, bang-up suggestions that you had was to do Black History Month for motorcycle clubs. So tell me about how that's going for you and what you're doing with that.
So I've been able to reach out to a couple different black motorcycle clubs, and well, one of which, the Buffalo Soldiers, and we're still talking with them and trying to figure everything out. However, as you begin to dive into it, you see that the black motorcycle clubs is a tight-knit community as well, and there's a rich history that's behind them as also. And so you really have to find out what that looks like and how that's affected how they've grown and how they've produced into an amazing organization that they are now. And so we're currently in contact with a few clubs and are looking at getting this pushed out real quick.
Now, one of the things, and me being perhaps, I grew up around a lot of black people. I was ordained in black church, so I see this kind of a racist statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. Why is there Black History Month? There's no White History Month. Why is James going to shoot Black History Month of motorcycle clubs when there's no White History Month? What do you think of that statement, first of all, and then second, answer the question?
My thoughts on that statement. It's a legitimate question. And I've heard that question over a multitude of decades now. And along with that, it comes from a place from me of ignorance.
Yeah.
Because now we have to take a look at the history of America, the United States.
Of media.
Of media as well. Now, America...
Wasn't a whole lot of brothers on TV before 1960.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But even then, the history books were written not with the black man in mind.
Yeah.
And so when we started working for our civil rights and pushing to learn more about black history and finding out what things look like, that's when a concession was made. Okay, you get Black History Month. And now I understand it, and I know why it was done. However, history is history. And the way I view it now is I'm looking at history from a black perspective instead of just looking at Black History Month.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm looking at history, and we all know history is history, but history is written by the winner.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the one who's the underdog.
Well,
or
I just
the
want
loser.
you to know, we won.
Well, with my help. But as we began to unite in color, unite in faith, and unite in beliefs, we have to learn more about each other. And so we have learned a lot about white history, but not much about black history. And it's just random questions out there that I had to learn outside of school. How many black inventors are there, or who was the inventor that did the stoplight? It was
George Washington Carver, wasn't it?
Yes. And different things like that. It's just there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of these things that were made that were done by blacks, but they never got credit for it.
Yeah.
And so now if we're looking at being more diverse and being more sensitive, we have to learn about those cultures as well.
And I think, I don't think this is an inordinate amount of focus on black culture. I want to be able to be relevant to all cultures. So I don't want people of color, whether it's, Asian or Latino or brown or black or whatever, to look at our club and say, well, that's a homogenous white, driven by a white skinhead. I don't want the people to look at it and go, well, there's no, I don't see anybody that looks like me. I'm very much interested in it being an open and inclusive organization. And that goes for everybody. I don't care who you are. as we move into Latin America strongly. I mean, we're in 7 Latin American countries.
Right.
I want them to look at our Facebook pages and see inclusion and I want to be intentional about that. It's not that I'm trying to recruit minorities. I just want to be intentional about the fact that we are clear about our stance that we want to have minorities and souls for Jesus.
Now, there's another argument that I heard the other day. It's, why don't you just leave it alone and it'll go away?
Well, why don't we?
Well,
what will go away is black people.
how do you mean?
Well, they just will come and look at the organization and go, well, they're leaving the whole racial issue alone, so I'm not comfortable there because there's no other black people. And the only thing that's going away, the status quo is simple. I'm a leader from the corporate world, and I metric everything. And I discovered, I was trained in diversity training as a hiring manager, that I wanted to hire people that looked and act like me.
Right.
And so I demographically lived in it or worked in an area which was 50-50 black and white, and I had not one black employee. Because they'd come in and I'd interview them, and I had an automatic bias. If they're wearing a Thug Life shirt already, I'm just not gonna, you know what I mean?
Right.
And culturally, if you study it culturally, black people are not taught to interview as well as white people are taught to interview.
Correct.
In other words, when I grew up, my dad was like, you wear a suit to an interview. I don't care if it's a warehouse job. You look a certain way, you act a certain way. You don't walk in there with a grill and a Thug Life shirt and a hat on sideways. And so it would turn me off, and I would not even look at those guys. And it got to the point where if it was a Tyrone Jackson resume, that one went over here. And if it was a Michael Curtis resume, that one went over here.
Correct.
And I had to be taught to overcome that.
Right.
I had to be taught that if you're tall and good looking and have a smile on your face and are white and are not heavy set, those 5 indicators will make me hire you. And the short, heavy set black chick that's not all that good looking is never going to get hired. And I had to intentionally say, okay, here's somebody who's short, heavy set, and whether they're black or white, I'm going to give this person an equal chance that I do to somebody that I feel appears a certain way. And so it's an unconscious bias. It was not deliberate racism, but it was an unconscious bias for me. And I think the same thing goes around motorcycle clubs. There's an unconscious bias perhaps on the half of black people. Like you said, there ain't no brothers there, why would I go there? And then I'm surrounded by a black culture that says, why would you go to a white club?
Right.
Well, that's an unconscious bias that causes us not to grow. So why would we focus on it? Are we allowed to call him a black guy? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're a black guy.
Exactly.
I don't think you would identify as African American even necessarily. Do you? I don't know. I know some black people like, I'm not African. I'm American. I'm American as apple pie.
And that's my stance, yes.
And some black people are like, I'm African American, and it goes back to my roots and my culture,
Right.
But I think we identify, he's a black guy. This guy's a fat guy. This guy's a tall guy. This guy's a skinny guy. Do you remember the guy with the big beard? You know what I mean?
Right.
And unfortunately, you know as well as I do, police have to call you a BMA now.
True.
Or just a Bravo Mike. You know what I mean? They
Correct.
can't say black male. They can say Bravo Mike, though.
Right.
But we try to stay away from even talking about it because there's so much racial fear. And I don't think that's the proper thing. I think let's have those conversations. If I see somebody that can't ride their motorcycle, and I hate to say it that way because can't ride your motorcycle is kind of a negative, negative. If I see somebody that's got a loud personality, then I'm going to mentor them about what it's like to be in an organization of other people with a loud personality.
Right.
If I see somebody that's black, I'm going to mentor them about what it's like to be black in a white culture. And I'm going to ask those questions because I want to know who is here and that they're comfortable and that they're happy. If I find a prospect who's being abused by a full patch, I'm going to stand up for that too. And I think if we leave the issue alone, then on metrics alone, and this is why I brought up interviewing, on metrics alone, we have 3 black dudes in a club with, a very large number of people.
Right.
And 3 black dudes. And that you're less than 1% of the organization.
Correct.
And that you're a fraction of a percentage of an organization. That's a problem for me.
Yep.
If we had 15, I think roughly 12 to 15% of America is black. If we had 12 to 15% of the organization, or even 8 to 10,
Right.
which would be a lot of black dudes,
Exactly.
then it would be no problem. But when I ask the question, and then this is the thing, all the stuff that I come up with, guys, is not my ideas. Dry Bones Ministry, not my idea. It was suggested by people in the club. The Global Revival, okay, that was God's idea. I can take credit for that one. The Redeemed movie, not my idea. The Disciple House, not my idea. Having racial reconciliation is something I was taught as a pastor, but it was your idea. I came to you and talked to you and said, what's your experience as a black guy in the club? And you're like, well, where's the brothers at on the media? How do I overcome that? And then how do we make sure that we are sensitive to the needs of people in the organization, whether it's they need to read the Bible more, or they need to do this, or they need to do that, or if they are a different color, creed, race, or religion than us, let's work on how we can connect with that. If they're a different denomination of Christian, how do we connect with that? How do we recognize how to love a Baptist guy when we feel like they're being a jerk to us about our charismatic beliefs? How do we recognize how to love a person of color if we feel like, if their feeling is that they're in a slightly hostile environment? Would you say that you would feel, not because of Disciple, but just because of your upbringing and the way that you viewed Disciple, would you say that walking into Disciple felt a little bit like walking into a racially hostile environment?
I can say walking into Disciple, it makes me feel like I'm in high school all over again. Well, I was one of 4 black kids out of 400 in the high school.
Yeah.
And that I was on guard all the time, especially there. There were known racists in the school, and different things would happen to where I would have to watch my back 24/7. Now, do I feel like I have to watch my back with Disciple? No, because my bros have my back.
That's awesome.
But do I still look over my shoulder? Oh, absolutely. Now, this is why I appreciate James Disciple Johnson so very much, because in the face of adversity, he's still standing on the subject. There is a couple of major leaders I know who have began to talk about racism and look at diversity in churches of 3,000 to 5,000 and have lost half their church. They've gone on to be put out of position, and they have gone on to have physical attacks
against them. It's an uncomfortable conversation, and a lot of people just don't want to have it.
Correct.
They're like, look, the Civil War ended in 1864, and black people are fine since then. But as you said, it was 100 years later that the civil rights movement came about, that black people were allowed to drink at the same water fountain, ride on the same bus, not be lynched, be able to vote. That was 1964.
Correct.
That black people could vote. And so, yeah, you're talking about 10 years before I was born. I mean, this isn't out of our lifetime area. There's people that are alive watching this stream who were alive when black people couldn't vote. And so there's been a slow cultural, there's been a slow cultural shift. And obviously, with the genesis of BET and other black media, those things are beginning to change. But it's not like racism died in 1864.
No, it's still alive today.
Now, would you say that as part of Disciple, you've run into a racist organization or an insensitive organization?
I have not. And this is where things are beginning to get fun, because I've been embraced with open arms with as many as I've met so far. Now, the fun piece is that it's like walking on eggshells. They're trying to figure out, well, how far can we joke and what becomes offensive. I tell you what, when you're yourself and you begin to treat everyone as yourself, jokes are going over as jokes, and things aren't taken as offensively.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm certainly glad to hear you have these ideas. I'm always looking for ideas. I'm always looking for a muse. I'm always looking for a person to feed me, facts and relevant information. I've been very impressed by just... These guys are up to stuff all the time. They just went and fetched a chair that they found at another campsite.
Allegedly.
Never stops. That's how you get stuff when you live in a campground, is you just take it from the people that leave. They just leave stuff behind, you take it. So yeah, I've been thankful for the ideas that you've had. I never want problems, I want solutions. If we have not maybe the best way to say, if we have not appeared to be a racially diverse organization, then how do I fix that? And you've had great ideas. I'm super excited about shooting Black History Month. In full transparency, I'm a former skinhead. I was the guy that bitched about, oh, there's Black History Month, but no White History Month. I was the guy that used the N-word on a regular basis. I was definitely, somebody who had really strong racial feelings. And so, I kind of sympathize then the Lord had me ordained in a black church with a black spiritual father.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the Lord knows how to work things out. And, I had two black spiritual fathers, and they were life-changing. This ministry is a result of those men. So there's no question in my mind, we have to address these issues. I would never say that the guys in the club were a bunch of racists or insensitive. we just don't know because we don't spend enough time around other cultures.
Correct.
I'm extremely comfortable with other cultures because after being a skinhead, then I went into a motorcycle club, and then I was actually the liaison to the other black clubs, and so I became extremely comfortable with the N-word, like what's up my people,
Right.
and that's how we talked in Detroit. I became extremely comfortable being around black people and having them razz me about being white, and I razz them about chicken and watermelon or whatever. You know,
I had a watermelon drink last night.
it is funny. The guys came back from the gas station. They're like, "What drink did he pick? He had to have a watermelon juice, huh? A watermelon." It's funny, but I mean, in black culture, watermelon's important.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's important to my kids too. I mean, everybody likes watermelon,
Yep.
but those kind of jokes. I mean, we tease each other about stuff, and I think, people might be shocked to hear me say, "Oh, a black guy and chicken and watermelon." But last night he's trying to convince me to eat chicken and waffles.
Absolutely.
It's just there are different pieces of culture, and it's good to recognize them. It's good to value them. It's good to value diversity, to celebrate diversity, and also important to have those conversations. To know, I don't want it to be when a black guy comes into the club or into any organization where it's like, oh my God, the other is here. What? Don't say chicken and watermelon. Don't say, don't say black. Don't ask him if he's black or talk about his experience as being a black person in a white club. It's racialist, and it could be. Some other people may not be as open. You shared with me about how you've been the only black guy in a large military unit, or you had a few black guys in your high school. We've talked about how the fact that some black people may consider you to be Uncle Tom because you're comfortable about white people, or the word was whitewashed. What you said is the appropriate way to say it is cultured.
Right.
But if I go around going, this is a very cultured black man, he's well-spoken, I feel like I'm saying something racist because, well, of course, all black people could be cultured or well-spoken. But
Correct.
like there's a different terminology, there's a different, it is such a, and it brings great conversation. It brings deeper connection.
Absolutely.
And if we don't talk about these things, then they're the elephant in the room anyway.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, the black guy's here. What do we do? Everybody be careful what you say.
I
And
know.
so, yeah.
One of the biggest questions I always ask people, especially when we start looking and we start talking about segregation and things, I ask them, what color was God? What color is God? And they always...
He's clearly white, just so you know. Red beard.
Red beard? Okay.
I was made in his image. Jesus rode a panhead.
Yeah, he really did.
There's a solid argument for Jesus being black in the Bible.
There is.
Yeah,
There is.
black church, and having been, since I was the white skinhead at a black church, I was always the Roman soldier that was beating black Jesus.
Nice.
I was always the cop that was arresting Rosa Parks in the play at church. You know what I
okay.
mean? I really was.
Right.
I remember I had a black woman jump up and say, "Stop beating my Jesus," in the church while we're taking him down the aisle, for.
Wow.
And I did exactly what the drama pastor did. I said, "Sit down!" And she sat down. And it was a crazy experience. I had to go find her later and be like, "Baby, I just want you to know." She, "No, I know now, But it was such a different cultural experience for me. But black Jesus to black church, Jesus had to go and hide in Egypt.
Yes, he did.
And Egypt was part of Ethiopia. Egyptians were black. If you look at hieroglyphics, Egyptians were black back then, and the blacks were enslaving the Jews.
Correct.
If you want to look at what happened in the Bible as far as the slavery of the Jews. And so there's an argument that since Herod was going to kill all the babies under the age of 2 years old in Judea of Galilee, where Jesus was born, they decided, let's get Jesus out of here, and they hid him for 2 years in Egypt. Why would you hide a Arabic-looking boy in a black territory? And so there is a logical argument for why Jesus was black in the minds of black people. I would say Jesus looked like an Arab or a Jew,
Now,
dark beard, dark hair.
The other fun part is the God who sits on the throne in heaven is a ray of light. Now, people always say he's white, but the fun piece is white light is a conglomerate of all colors.
That's true. Yeah.
He is all things to everyone.
Yeah, that's right. So what would you say as far as if people are watching and they want to be involved in the ministry of racial reconciliation, in the ministry of saying, hey, how do I build a relationship with this guy who's from a different culture, different race, different color than I am? How do I start a conversation with a black dude about the elephant in the room? how would you do that? For me, I'm just like, how does it feel to be black in a white club?
Right.
You know, what would you say is something that people could say to recognize and even value, hey, I understand you're black in a white club and we're happy to have you here, or something like that. What would you say would be an appropriate way to start that conversation for a white person?
First, pray. That's always first and foremost. Secondly,
if your heart is right, then the conversation's going right.
Exactly. Secondly, it's going to be, you have to be in a place where you're open and transparent. A pastor of mine out in California, he taught me one thing, and it's a simple gesture. It's just grab the doors to your heart and open up. Because you don't know what you don't know, you don't know what you know, and you know what you don't know, you know what you don't what you know.
And there's an unknown unknown. You don't know what you don't know.
And because a lot of the idiosyncrasies that we place in ourselves and a lot of things in which we do and a lot of how we feel and just different things like that, we won't understand how much we offend another unless we open up our hearts and allow for a very serious conversation. Now, thirdly, do not be defensive.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not racist. All you blacks just don't want to hang out with us.
Yeah. The moment you
blacks automatically segregate themselves. I'm not racist. I've had a lot of conversations like that in my life.
The moment
if the blacks would just show up on time at 5 o'clock when the party started, they'd be welcome. But they come at 8 o'clock when everybody's leaving.
Right, right.
I'm not racist.
Well,
blacks are racist.
For us, we say the party starts at 5. Everybody shows up at 7. The food's been cooking since 3, and we're ready to eat at 8. And then we have the party until about midnight, 3 in the morning. But the moment you're defensive.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, beautiful colors. I love them.
The peacocks are here. They're coming through. They're looking for rice, and we don't have any for them. So we'll back from this moment. All right. Gotta love them.
Yeah, the moment you're defensive is the moment you shut down any and every truth that will come to you to enlighten you on who you are.
When I came to you and I asked you about your experience in the in a white club as a black guy, excuse me. When I came to you, I asked you because I wanted to know.
Correct.
I did not ask you because I wanted you to say, "Oh, you white people have been real nice to me." You know, I wanted you to tell me the real thing. And then when you told me the real thing, I was a little disappointed by what I heard, and I could take action about it. But even if I disagree with your opinion, you know, even if I could say, well, no, we're super inclusive to black people, or we have a president of a charter that's black, you know, we have a token black guy already. So we have it all. If I come to you with that, I can't learn anything from you.
Exactly.
I can't learn how to make it better.
Correct.
You know, I'll just shut down the conversation. Well, if you black people would show up on time, and then the conversation shut up, you ain't gonna say nothing no more, and you're gonna leave. You know.
Right. And you make a very good point. How can you learn from another if you've already shut them down? Now, we all have God in us. I trust the God in me because I live with the God in me daily. But how do I trust the God in you?
By the way I treat you.
Now, if I shut you down quickly, then I've also shut down the God in you. So now the God in you won't be able to talk to the God in me, and we won't be able to have that connection. And so then the kingdom mentality there is separated. The kingdom of God is not divided. Should not be divided.
Yeah, heaven's all one color. I'm sorry, heaven's not all one color. We weren't going to let any blacks in. Just so you know. No, heaven's not all one color. I mean, there's going to be every race, creed, color, religion in there. Every race, creed, and color in there. Not religion, I guess, yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to be a Jesus believer. Cool,
Absolutely.
man. Well, I'm excited to see what's happening. I'm excited. I'm thankful that you've set things up with, you know, that we're working through the process to meet with some other clubs and share Black History Month of motorcycle clubs. I'm fascinated by motorcycle club culture and history, and so I think it's going to be fascinating to learn what we can learn. And I really think that it'll be the first documentary ever about black motorcycle clubs.
I believe so.
You know, I have not searched extensively, but I have not found anything about black motorcycle clubs, other than, of course, you know, some different YouTube channels from black dudes that are in clubs and Sucker Free MC and that kind of stuff. But,
right.
you know, and much respect to them. I reached out to them, no response. Just so
No,
you know. Sucker Free MC, what's up?
I'll get on it.
Sup? Sent you a message. I got an Autobot response. we will be back with you shortly. Cool, man. Well, God bless you. Thanks for being part of the organization. Anything else you want to say before we finish up?
Just continue to pray, especially with all the endeavors and everything that's going on. James Disciple Johnson is really going to need the prayers and really going to need the angelic protection. And then any and everyone that has an idea, please pitch your ideas, but also be ready to put your hands to the plow, because you're going to have to work your ideas as soon as they get approved.
Yeah. The first thing when he said more black faces on the media, I was like, great. Why don't you go out and make that happen? Tell them you've been voluntold. All right, cool, man. Thanks for talking to me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, y'all, this brings us toward the end of today's daily update. Sorry that I have not been shooting daily update. Guys, I literally have my life focused around the global revival idea right now. That's where my headspace is. That's what I'm wrapped around. That's what I'm trying to start. That's what I'm focused on. We're doing a lot of transitional stuff right now. Transitioning from shooting Facebook Live, where they make the money, to YouTube Live, where we have an opportunity to make money. It's hard because less viewers come to YouTube. If you haven't done so, definitely when the video's over, turn your device, rotate your device to portrait mode, and hit the little bell next to subscribe so that you can get updated when we go live. Share this out there. We're slowly building the audience on Facebook. We're slowly transitioning the audience from Facebook to YouTube. But more importantly than that, we're shooting the video because we're going to be going worldwide. We're going to be laying hands on men, ordaining them, and praying for them. We're going to be sharing a lot of cultures over the next year on this show. We are going to be very intentional about getting out there and making a difference in the world. Sorry, there's a military chopper overhead for the Cape Canaveral Air Station, so if it's too loud, I apologize. But I'll tell you, I'm really excited about global revival. I really think that we have an opportunity to empower men of God around the world and to start a Christian biker church in an Islamic country. For the first time ever in that country, we're going to come in and start a biker church for Christians. You know, we're going to touch a lot of people's lives, and I've been putting together building blocks for months now that include everything from finances. A lot of you have given financially. Thank you for giving financially. I've been putting together building blocks for the Dry Bones crew so that we can reach out to a larger network of people with our message about Jesus Christ, about the 4 legs, the 4 questions. I've been reaching out to a lot of people, developing skill sets when it comes to, and collecting people around me when it comes to shooting video and editing video that can be compelling and turn their hearts toward Jesus Christ. I've been, putting together a crew of people around the world and a global travel list of destinations to shoot in, and people to go with me and people to meet when I'm there. Like setting up this Thai TV event. We'll be making a donation to an orphanage, and Thai TV will come in, and it will also connect with the largest biker event in Thailand. It's like Sturgis for Thailand, the Barapa Bike Week. And so we'll be cross-pollinating, and it's going to be amazing. So all of this stuff, the time that it takes to work technology, I was just given a drone, and so I have to figure out how to fly a drone, and it's going to take me, I'm sure, days of work to figure out how to fly a drone. So when I get to Thailand, I can get a drone shot and show you some context of what we're at, where we're ministering when we're at this Barapa Bike Week and all these motorcycles from all over Thailand. I want to give people context to kind of see what it looks like. And so this stuff takes days. And we have to raise support to make it happen because we're not making money. By the way, I'm not independently wealthy. The club doesn't pay me money. I've never taken a salary from the club. But over the last few months, some of you have been generous enough to donate $5, $50, $500 a month to give me the time to build this global network of people and places in order to spur global revival. Thank you for that. Because it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work, but it has a kingdom purpose to reach people for Jesus Christ. I'm James Disciple Johnson, National President and founder of Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club. Please take a moment to subscribe and share this link out there on your social media, and that includes Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please add it to your favorite videos and share it out there on your social media to let people know what we're trying to do. Guys, if you believe in the concept of global revival, people going to heaven, people being snatched from the jaws of hell, please consider supporting us financially. We'll put a link in the description of this video where you can donate to help us reach people for Jesus Christ. That's the goal. Yes, we get to have a lot of fun while we're doing it. Yes, we shoot videos and look like a bunch of teenagers with motorcycles, but the Lord has given us something that excites the heart of men for Jesus Christ, riding motorcycles and talking about Jesus. Go to disciplechristianmc.com, learn about our ministry, read the blogs, watch the video, buy a t-shirt, support the ministry. God bless you. Thanks for